Hits.
So what we got here is the Arboretum. It is really just two pieces. The Arboretum itself and the clear ceiling piece where it allows for light to where the light plans on going through. Looking at the screenshots, well, more like lack of any actual studio model of this. It's basically, you know, in none of the Star Trek films, you actually get to see this. Not even close. That's why if you watch a bunch of other people's videos and seeing a bunch of their refit models of this, it's basically do your own design. But recently, there's a YouTube channel known as Otoy, O-T-O-Y. They've been associated with the Roddenberry archives and the Roddenberry Vault, which is all of Gene Roddenberry's stuff, all his notes, illustrations, whatever, everything that involves Star Trek with him, from the original series pretty much till the day he died, probably even stuff afterwards. And what their goal is to digitally preserve and archive everything in much detail as possible. They posted a video. I'll try to put a link on it in the description, but I will show a couple screenies that I grabbed of the video of the Arboretum, and it's almost pretty close to what this is. But the reason why I'm going to use that instead of kind of doing my own thing is because they used the information that Roddenberry had. They probably had an idea of what this is supposed to actually look like. So with all the information that they gathered, they digitally made a rendering, an animation of what the rec deck would have looked like. Now, without actually having any detailed photos of it inside the studio model, because there was something there. But I have not seen anything, and judging by many people doing their own thing, it's probably next to impossible to find. And if any of you have it, please share it. Don't gatekeep this kind of stuff. But I'm going to be using those screen grabs to kind of, make this thing look as what it was probably intended to look. And in the digital animated video, whatever, the pathway here is kind of like a large tiled floor with like maybe imagine like 2 foot wide ceramic tiles in white. And in the center of it is like a pedestal with like some type of sphere with like a gyro inside. Maybe that's what keeps the ship on the galactic plane, is this stupid little pedestal in the garden. It had basic just green trees, green grass, a few wooden benches. Kind of actually these benches in here is pretty close to where it would be. It did have water in it, but the water looked more like a koi pond. So it would basically be black. It doesn't show if there was a waterfall in here like this one has. Probably does, because it's kind of in the same direction. So I'm going to kind of do the same layout. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to create a type of checkerboard in this scale. I'll try, see if I can figure it out. But I'm definitely going to be doing the green grass. Definitely, I'm going to get rid of these ugly looking trees. They look like the trees on the Genesis planet, or a bad case of the mumps. So I'm going to grind these suckers down, and I'm going to put like snippets of this kind of stuff in it. And I also got a couple photo etch parts for the back wall here. I'm not going to use the decal. I'll probably paint something on it. And the way in the video was, the walls were basically like a light gray, whitish. Also, you can kind of get a glimpse of what this kind of looks like, mostly here and here. What always made me think, like every time you look at the refit in the films or whatever, it was always blue lit, like matching blue as the deflector dish. As a kid, whatever, I had no idea that it was an arboretum, a place for trees, grass, and you know, summer of love. I thought it was just part of the engine, because it's just how it matched the blue hue matched the deflector dish. But it actually, what it is, if you notice, if you watch the video, on this section here, on the very ends, they simulate like earth sky with a couple white clouds, but it's mostly sky blue. But in this over here, it's just white light, and over here was just not lit at all. So I'm going to recreate that. So what I guess we can get started is cleaning the pieces up, which I've already washed these off, hot soap and water, Dawn detergent, get rid of the mold release agent. All that's left is cleaning up the little bits of flash and junk that was off the sprue. And we'll start grinding these down. So we get a bit of tools here. Start cleaning off a little bit. A little bit of flash off this guy. A little flash off this guy. Okay. Applying a little sanding. Didn't take much at all, really. Yeah, we don't need that right now. I'll just grab. Yeah, this two little pieces is basically a kit in itself. A lot of work for this little area that it's going to be. It's all about the details. So, now I'm going to grind these out. A little Fowler cordless Dremel, using like a stone tip on it where I can just go down. It gives it as long as it works. I have it on a low speed just to test it out, just don't want to do any damage. Yeah, it works pretty well. See if I can do this where you guys can see it. With my best hand at it. I have to use this hand. It's all because of the rotation. That's one tree down. Now it's no big deal if I mar up. Let's see, the little where these trees are is on a area where it's supposed to be grass, so it doesn't really have to be super duper perfect, even though I'm going to try best as I can. I'm going to cover it with some like little model railroad fake grass type crap. So as you can see, I got, well, you probably can't see that well. I'll have to change the lens. Them kind of take it down. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of all this, save me some battery power and some time for you, because these series are going to be long. I'm going to get rid of the trees and I'll show you how it comes out. So I removed all the little plastic dumb trees on it, and I also sanded down with some 120 using like a little, wrapped it in a little, come here, like a little popsicle stick kind of deal, and just kind of carefully knock the rest of it down flatter. There's a little bit of a mound here, but that's actually kind of cool. I kind of like it like that, because that will tell me where to also put another little dumb tree. So it kind of gives it a little dirt mound effect. So the next thing actually I want to kind of do is kind of get it prepped for paint. So what I need to do is I need to sand, actually I need to sand this side here, because I want to make sure this is light blocked from anything from the secondary hole. Any light from it doesn't actually go through it. So, and I'm also, and so I'm going to, other than just sanding that, I'm not going to paint this and this, because it's going to get photo etch parts, which covers about most of it. The only thing that exposed through it is the doorways, which is only 3 little opens, doorways and a view screen. That's it. So I want to keep that bare, so that way I have something for the glue to stick the photo etch to. So I'm going to scuff this thing up, and I'm also going to spray some adhesion promoter, which is great for bare plastic. I highly recommend that for anything plastic. This can I got it at an auto parts store. It's only about 11 bucks from them. You can get the Bulldog one, which is actually, they come in gray. By the way, this one's clear. They also come in different colors too. If you get one from Bulldog, expect $35 for a can. That is expensive, but basically it's the same thing. So I'm going to scuff this up for light, just to give the adhesion promoter something to grab onto, and then the paint will grab onto that, you know, whatever. I always say first thing, the best thing that actually really makes paint grab is, you know, scuffing and sanding. Rough it up a little bit so it gives it some tooth to grab to. Apparently, if you've seen any of my other videos, you kind of know. And kind of cleaning up the edge a little bit, even though can't paint here because that goes up against the hole. But might as well clean that up too. Don't really need to do much sanding in here. There's kind of too much detail in here. Oh yeah, right here. Probably going to go ahead and mask this off too, because there's a view screen here and a couple of doors. I'm not sure how I want to do it. If I want to carve it out or just kind of leave where it's supposed to be open for some light to get through to give it an illusion of a hallway or something. Not quite sure yet. So let me clean this off. Just going to do a light little coat. That's it. Nothing, don't really need to go heavy with adhesion promoter. I mean, really super light is all you really need. And then we'll go on and figure out what we want to do next. Well, I masked off where I don't want any paint so far. I went ahead and sprayed some cheap black spray paint for light blocking. You don't need to really use anything expensive. The $2 cheap spray paint from Walmart or wherever, Home Depot, worked just as fine. One thing you do when it comes to light blocking to check is to actually like put it up against, you know, bright light, which I use my light right above you. You know, if you can't see light through it, it's probably a good example. Here, actually, let me turn this off. The only reason why you see these little dots is just because there are these holes that was meant for kit supplied little trees, even though they don't look like trees at all. So that it just becomes a guide on where to put the better trees and stuff. But while this was drying, I was like trying to think on what am I going to do for that little center pedestal and dome thing. But what I came up with was I took a piece of the clear sprue, and with, you know, some mini files, mini set of files, and of course, you know, gonna have to use one of these. I made a mini little pedestal. I'm gonna have to change the lens, and I'll show you in a little bit on what I did here. It's so small, I may actually have to handle it with tweezers or something. Yeah, it is. This thing's about 1/4 of an inch, or maybe about a little bit more than 1/2 centimeter if you don't like the American way, which I don't give. I just took a piece of thin clear sprue. I started filing it down to where I got like a little square T shape, so it almost looks like, you know, a pedestal with a lip on it. The only thing I need to do is kind of make a dome. I'm thinking maybe I'll just put a drop of canopy glue on it to kind of make a dome, because, well, if I had some solar res or some, you know, some type of, you know, resin, whatever, which I don't have, I got to get some, which will be later down the road. I'd probably use that, but I'll try it with a piece of canopy glue. I left part of the sprue rounded because the way I think I'm going to do it is I'm going to drill a hole right in the center of the exact diameter so this can slip through. And this is just by theory, is whatever light that's bouncing around in the hole underneath of this probably won't be much at all, but hopefully it'll be enough to go through the clear sprue and up through here and maybe kind of light the dome. If not, then it's no big deal. It's not even supposed to be lit up anyways, but if it does, that'll be a nice little effect. You know, a happy Bob Ross accident maybe. But yeah, this is what I made. So I'm going to kind of set this someplace safely aside so I don't lose it, because that damn thing looks like trash to anybody else's eyes. What I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to just put a coat of white on here, because if there is any light that's able to bounce around there, at least I want it to bounce around and go elsewhere, but not, you know, like contaminate through here, through this little thing. So I'm going to coat this with white. And then what I'm thinking about doing next is, well, I need to hog out that hole for that piece, but probably paint, let me see, I'm thinking I'll probably paint the pathway. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. You heard it here first. I'm going to paint the pathway after I coat this some white, so that's the next step. All right, just a quick little jump in. I painted the bottom of it white just in case for any more bouncing of light on the inside, just to help it out a little bit. So I started, as you can see here, I started masking off the inside so I can paint the pathway. Something that maybe I decided to jump in and kind of show you, just if you're going to use regular old blue tape as a stencil, just to, like, here's basically so you know on how to trace and cut. So what I did is, you know, I put a piece all the way across and I kind of just rub and push down on it where you can kind of see the pattern. Then I take like a pair of tweezers, but it's nothing where it's got a really sharp point on the edge, and just kind of work along and trace along the edge, like literally butt it up against it all the way. The reason why is so you can exactly see where you're going to cut. Now there's a couple areas that's actually, it's supposed to be water. Probably won't be able to see it that great, but it makes it a lot easier for me to see, and it makes it a lot easier to cut. So now I'm just going to trace along that sharp edge. All right, that should mostly do it. So now take another pair of tweezers, something that makes it easier to lift, and just start kind of pulling away. Some areas may need a little more of a cut. And a little bit of a trim. Okay. Make sure that this, yeah, that's what I thought. There we go. So I'm going to pick a color, something, of course, also in the whites. I still don't know how I'm going to do the grid pattern. I probably won't. Maybe I'm going to just go ahead and choose a color. You'll find out as I spray it. So what I chose is a metallic white pearl. Well, mainly because, you know, it's going to be a white pathway anyways. It's going to be next to impossible for me to even do such a fine little grid like it would have been seen if you were like going to have like tile grout space in about 1/4 of an inch on something this big. You would never see it. So I decided to do a white pearl, so maybe the pearls will do some type of effect. Either way, it's going to be white no matter what. So, and it's already got, you know, the plastic's already white itself. And this side was also sprayed with an adhesion promoter. So I'm just going to add the pearl on top of it as a base, on top of the plastic as its own base. And it doesn't even need much. So. I don't even mind loading this up in here too. Probably could have been reduced a little bit more. Oh no, it's actually flowing. Try to do a little light test. I think that's good. On that, it's kind of hard to see, but I'll dig it. Okay, so I did some little more paint work inside the Arboretum. Little brown spots is where the dirt mounds and the trees are going to go. And the black, which you see as gloss black, is kind of like where the water is, like a koi pond. And over here are the two little bridges. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to apply, some of this fake grass. So what I'm kind of doing is I'm brushing on some canopy glue where we're going to be putting our grass. The reason why I'm using canopy glue is because it'll give me more working time with it than mono glue or CA glue. So it'll give me enough time to kind of paint it on, and plus I just clean off the brush with some soap and water, so it's not too much of a sacrificial. So I'm just being very detailed on brushing on glue. This is what you're going to see me do, is how I'm going to apply the grass here. I was almost starting to do this without, showing this. I was like, wait a minute, no, I should be showing this. That was kind of the plan. And I just realized, hey, this is dry enough to where if I spread the fake grass on this stuff, it's not going to stick to wet paint. Paint's already dried enough. I'm kind of taking my time. I don't want to take too long. Then this stuff will set up on me and the grass won't stick to
Whistle me, Dixie.
But at the same time, I don't want to put the glue on my pathway that I just did. Kind of defeats the purpose now, doesn't it? What I think I'm also going to do is, after when the grass here is all dried up, I'm going to add some more canopy glue into the water area. I think I'm gonna do that. I don't know. No, maybe not, because probably won't be crystal clear. Maybe that's what I need, is some crystal clear stuff. I mean, I can take a little bit of clear coat that I have in a can and just fill it in. But there is stuff for it to do that. And in this part, there are holes that, like through it, it was meant to go, like they have some like god-awful ugly trees. I think I mentioned that, but I'm going to use that crap. One little tiny little area. Okay, so now set up my canopy glue. Let me at least get my brush into something. Now I'm going to take some of this that I had left over from a project many years ago. Save all kinds of crap. Okay, now it's just a matter of sprinkling it on and making a mess. Drench the whole thing. Tapping it off. A little more. What I'm kind of doing now, just to make sure it bonds, it's just taking my fingertip and just doing a light tap. Kind of pushing it in the glue. And there's a light, like a spot that I can still see plastic. Just take a little bit left over and pinch it. Now, like,
Shut up!
may have to actually, some places I'm going to have to do like a little touch up. I'll use some super glue. Where I initially started, it was like, looks like it was starting to dry. So I don't want to touch super glue, so give me a little stick. The only reason why I'm doing some super glue instead of the canopy over here, because obviously it seems like the canopy was drying too quick. So yeah, going to probably have to do some quick work. May have lost some little mound, but that's all right. Overall, it's looking pretty good. I'm just using this Loctite just because it's the cheap stuff for it in here. I mean, yeah, I could be using this stuff, but for this in here, I'd rather, do the cheap stuff. So let me just clean off just some of this wall right here. What do you think? I think I like it. So for today, I don't think there's anything I can accomplish. I gotta wait for all this glue to dry, and I'd rather have a full cure than try to go too fast on it. So I'm just gonna let this stuff dry overnight, clean it up a little bit, and then we'll put in some trees. That's the next step. So it's been kind of overnight since I did this. It's looking pretty good. What I did in the water area is that I was experimenting, so I did a couple layers. I did like a crystal clear, not like the modeling stuff, the craft paint stuff. What it is like clear paint with a bunch of very small little glitter, microscopic glitter, just trying to give it the impression of, you know, different light sources reflecting off what would be water. It was kind of like too chunky in my opinion, so I kind of went over it with some really thin gloss black, the same stuff I did with the base, just to dull down some of it, because I think it had just too much glitter, if you ask me. So it just left a little bit of the glitter in it. But one thing I'm going to do right now, well, not right now, but after this, after the black paint dries, is I think I'm just going to fill this in with some canopy, because that'll dry clearer. And what I also did was I made the little pedestal that's going to go right dead center. Kind of hard to really see it. I'll show it to you later when I change the lens. I can get really up close. You know, doing some microfiling off, like I said before, on a piece of clear sprue, kind of made like a T-shaped pedestal, and then I did a fine little drop of canopy on the top and made like a little clear sphere on top of it. So it actually came out pretty good. And I painted the pedestal a type of silver. So the real challenge right now until I get to putting this in is to not lose this little sucker. I mean, it's like, geez, what can I compare it to? Let's see. Yeah. So that came out pretty neat. But the next step on this Arboretum is getting a couple pieces off here of pretty much the walls, so I can go ahead and pre-paint them. So let's bust out the photo etch from Paragraphics. So get a sharp little blade. Number 15 and 16 is what I'm looking for. There we go. 15. Now. Set these two off to the side. What I should have done prior was clean this off and spray some metal etch and primer on it. I'll do that with this one, with these two pieces, and then I'll go back with this. By the way, I'll end up cleaning with some wax and grease remover and a nice little tack rag. Just make sure there's no dust on it before I, you know, spray some self-etching, metal etching primer on it. And I would say for anything metal, your first layer of primer should be something metal etching, because that's what really does the best job. Don't just say, hey, it's like a 2-in-1 of primer and paint that's going to really work. You really need metal etching. clean up a little bullshit here. Sometimes trying not to bend it. Probably just lay my file down and go do that. I mean, I could be bold and use a Dremel, but nah, don't need to risk it. And this stuff is thin metal, so it's very important trying not to bend it. One thing I should probably do while I'm thinking about it and looking at it is just kind of, because I got to think about the door and these doors and the view screen and stuff. I haven't really figured out what I want to do. I think I'm just going to make it look like the doors are closed. Because, you know, think about it, really, what's on the other side of the Arboretum? It's where the deflector dish is all doing its stuff. It's some violent reaction behind some place very peaceful, you know? It's like, why would you actually want to put, you know, a place like this behind something that's like a nuclear reactor? But then again, something I was wondering is like, you know, what is this water really? I mean, like, why would you, like, what's the purpose of it that it has to be like right behind the deflector dish? And that makes me kind of wonder that, is it part of the plumbing system? Because you got to think of, you know, they never really explained bathrooms in Star Trek. You know, I'm wondering if this is part of the sewer system, really. You know, obviously you wouldn't want to go anywhere near, you know, a crew full of turds and rancid rancid piss. You know, that would deflect you out of there. So heck, maybe that's what powers the deflector dish. You never know with, you know, the technology of the 23rd century. I mean, that could be, you know, a little bit of Spock's Pon farr in the corner. Let's just kind of lay this in here, kind of see how it goes. I know, I'll deal with it afterwards. I think what I need to do is kind of just pre-paint the areas. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I'll do. After I go ahead and paint this up here, I'll just come back and kind of self-lay it in here, kind of like, you know, like that. And just kind of only do some type of handwork or whatever, kind of like make a little door and then do something about this, what would be a view screen area. The plastic is really thick for it to actually be lit up. So I'll figure something out on that. Same thing with the opposite side too. Just like this. But right now I want to deal with this. So I'm going to go get set up on the airbrush area. I'm going to go ahead and also get these prepped for metal etching, and we'll deal with some photo etch. So I got it laid out, cleaned up. It's ready for some self-etching primer. So put on a coat. Doesn't have to be too heavy. It just needs it just to etch, really. Etch, not like photo etch as eating it. It just makes it so paint will definitely get a better bond to this stuff. Because you don't just do paint to bare metal. It will not stick. That's it, that's all you really need. You don't need much. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'll actually set this off to the side somewhere, probably just back into its thing. After that dries, then it'll be putting on the color. Well, made a nice little, pretty little pattern. So it's dry now, dry enough. I just laid the backside on a piece of tape so that way as I airbrush it, it's not gonna blow away. And I'm only really need to paint one side. I got my color mix up. What I'm going for is called a dove gray. So it's a very, 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 very light gray. Because looking at the screenshot, it looks like a light gray, so that's what we're gonna go for. So load up paint on my airbrush, turn it on, make sure everything works good. All right, make it happen. Might be too runny in my paint. Yeah, I'm a little too runny. So here's what I'll do. Speed dry. It's too runny. Thing you do is you can bump up the air pressure and help to atomize a little bit better. I might have to actually make this into fewer coats. Bump up my air. Oh, that's much better. Plus now, because I used a black color primer, it's going to take a little bit more coats to bury something that you want to go completely light. Heat gun it. Good thing about this craft acrylic paint, you know, you just add a little heat to it, it'll dry really fast. I just need it dry enough so that way I can add on more. Here's a little thing I'm also kind of noticing, which is great, that I mixed it too thin than usual. Because of the detail in here, it actually is not like with thicker paint, it's not building it up, so it's almost, it's not losing a lot of detail. That's what I'm trying to say here is, because this has got some fine detail. That's one thing I was a little bit kind of worried about with some of this photo etch, is the detail. I'm actually liking that already. Okay, I think that's enough. Let this dry and clean out my gun. Okay, so what I decided was where any of the doorways are, I decided to paint like a silver, but it's called tin, to mimic like a steel door or an aluminum door. So I masked off all this with, of course, blue tape, as you can see. One thing I had to make sure is, I forgot to mention earlier that the grass area that I did, also before, I finished for the night, I experimented with some thin say glue. I just kind of drizzled a little bit just right onto it, and it absorbed it like a sponge. And then it made it rock hard, but it looks like grass. So that was actually another freaking happy accident. So I'm not worried about the tape. I didn't press it hard, and also to anytime you want to lower tack down, just take your piece of tape, rub it across your shirt, grab some lint on it, and it'll make the tack even lower. And also, if you have an issue like removing like pieces, if you go and do it the way I did by just gently laying it on masking tape and then painting and heat gunning, the heat gun's going to kind of reactivate the adhesive a little bit, so it kind of made it tougher. But way to fight it, if it's fighting you on removing it, what I had to do was I just got a little bit under the tape with like flat tweezers and just kind of like, just see if you can get a good angle, just kind of go under it and just kind of pulling it like a spatula, because you don't want to bend it, you don't want to pull it away, you just want to kind of separate it. So that worked out just fine. No issues on that. It could have been a problem, but luckily it isn't. So now it's time I'm going to remove this tape here gently. See, very little grass loss, which is great. As long as it doesn't pull anything up in big giant chunks. I left the view screen areas open. I mean, you're not really going to be able to see them much anyways. So, but maybe some of the light from the deflector dish on one side and the light from the shuttle bay or something will kind of glow through it, give it a little ambiance. And what I also did was, if you can see the little black dots, I just kind of marked on, areas I wanted to paint primarily. So just a place. So I didn't want to try to coat the whole damn thing. I just only wanted just what I wanted. So I'm going to do a test lay of the paragraphic. Kind of hard to pick up. There we go. Of course, what I kind of see is I may have to do a little hand work on it, just because the tape made a lip on it. You can see a little white. I may just have to touch that up by hand. So I'm going to do that, touch some of this area up, and maybe we might even glue it. Hey, so now we're ready to put on the couple photo etch pieces. I just had to clean up a little bit on the edge right here with my hobby knife, just to scrape away so that the piece can actually fit down. So what I'm going to do is we'll do this side first. What I should do is try to get a good grip on this thing. We'll put some CA glue actually on the photo etch itself. I think it's a new bottle. It's because it's not cut all the way. I don't like using these knives for that. There we go. drops. Line it up. I mean, I suppose I can use kicker, but it seems to already be bonded pretty good. That needs a little work though. Do is get a little dab. Little dabby do. Let it run down there for a sec. May actually need kicker. Do is hold it down. Is. All right, there's that one. Ha. What do you think so far? Yep. Do a simple little light test. Oh yeah. Cool. What I definitely need to do is light block behind the door, but just leave the view screen open. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just, you know, black paint right there. No big damn deal. So, and then I guess after that, put in trees and silly little thingy podium with the globe and the orb and that kind of bullshit. All right. Watch this. Actually, I changed my mind. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the canopy glue in the water because why? For me, it's getting late, but you know, it'll be a couple seconds for you guys watching this video. So, canopy glue, just going to dab it in the areas. I'm going to put a little bit on what would be this waterfall, like right there. Oh yeah, that worked. Okay. That's it right there. take a little, nudge it around a little bit. There we go. Okay. When that dries, it'll be crystal freaking clear. And I've already went ahead and I blocked the door areas. So I'm gonna put this someplace safe. And what would be tomorrow for me is going to be like a couple seconds to the next transition. Okay, for me, it's another day and another taco. So today's little project is we're gonna put in the trees and the little microscopic pedestal. I think I'm gonna actually pre-drill the hole first for the pedestal because I think it'll be easier to do before I have all the shrubbery in the way. I'm going to take my pin vise with a small little bit just to get started. And from the screenies that I've seen, it's pretty much right dead center of the Arboretum. So I'm going to start there and just kind of make a pilot starter hole. Pilot starter hole. Get in your hole. All right. Now, for a good fit, I don't want to take a guess. So, I got my little trusty little measuring tool out here. And I want to measure the diameter of the sprue because that's going to sit in. And I got 120th of an inch on the little sprue. Little cheat here, I've kind of already did this part so I don't have to waste time on finding a drill bit. I did, this is 128th, just a hair bigger. So, which is fine because you need some room for the glue. I don't want it super tight fit. Now I'm not gonna go ahead and go full speed whatever. I'm just gonna take this slow right through the starter hole. So there's a walk reducer in 20. It's just plastic, so I could have fun. I could put it through the drill press. Wouldn't that be interesting though? Use the drill press to put a hole in the Arboretum. Oh yeah. Hey, let me see how this fits. Oh, actually quite nice, really. There's a little bit of flash in there that's preventing me to go all the way through. Let's clean that up. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Okay, now that hole is done. I'm gonna actually put that in after the trees. I just wanted to make sure this is done because obviously we have all that little bullshit. So for the trees here, I got me a little pre-cut pile. So for this one, I may use that one as tight little bushes. I'm gonna use some extra thick CA. It'd probably be a good idea to have like a tweezer or something so I don't get it all over my freaking hands. So, and I'm just going to randomly do it. Put in some random places. Let's see. Maybe this little bastard. Let's see what we can do. Trying to see it. I'm using extra thick glue just because of the doming effect, really. Maybe it's like a gel to keep it kind of runny or something. Come on. That one. Yeah, I could use the zip kicker for, you know, everything like right about now, but no. I don't want to like use a bunch of zip kicker for just like one tree at a time. I'll just zap it at the end. Just need to get it in place. I'm kind of doing my larger trees first too. It's like I almost need a second set of tweezers just to release it off of this one. Good idea. Maybe something without grip, so you know, slip off easy. Come here. You little bastard. Ooh, fell right off into the spot. Come here. Let's see. Ooh, this is gonna be a big tree right here. Where to put the big tree? Probably like right here. We're gonna need some more foliage. Yeah, that one kind of sucks. There's another, let's cut off another piece. And I'll use the extra small little pieces here to be like a little bit of shrubbery. This one. A little extra bigger than I thought. Okay, it's too good attached. Then let's figure out where to put you. I know, we'll put you, say, about right here. I'm trying not to like place them where we can't see the little custom centerpiece. I want to make sure it can be kind of seen and not buried in foliage. One like right here. Sometimes you gotta manipulate it a little bit. Toad wants to stay. I think one more actual tree and then just little tiny bushes. Right here. No, right there. I want to put it like literally right in what would be the window. That would suck. Okay, time for little shrubbery bushes. A bush here. Get some more shrubbery pieces. Just do some cutting of them. Oh, there's a little hidden one right here. Oh, forgot even this guy. Perfect. Okay, that should probably do. Put a bush here. And put a little George bush here. Maybe another George bush. George bushy here. Let's see, I got a drop, so I need to use it. There. Yeah. There you go. Oh yeah. Okay, I think actually that's good for the Arboretum. Now, hopefully I won't knock any of it down with a zip, with an aerosol. Just go down. Let's throw that in there, maybe I can reuse it. Oh. Little bushy action. Oh, by the way, I did a little hand detail last time with that, just for shits and giggles, just to break it up a little bit. So, okay, now of course, this little motherfucker. This I think I'll just use. I guess it really don't matter. Usually you want to use like canopy glue for anything that's clear, but I kind of want maybe the possibility light will actually go through it. So maybe I will use canopy on this part. So let me just, I guess I'll just put it on the inside of the hole. So that way it'll work itself around it. Should actually be doing this also with tweezers. Just because of the grip factor. No, actually, let me put a little bit on. No, put on the opposite side. well, it's kind of painted, but maybe I can get it to go on the inside. Canopy kind of actually dries pretty good when you give it time to do its thing. So inside I got a little itty bitty pedestal. See that? Cool. Believe me, I'll put a better focused shot on this after when this is done. Well, basically this part is done. Except for now I got to do is deal with this thing. A little test fit, just to see how the trees are going to. No, actually not too bad. Cool. All right. Set that over there, do its thing. So my plan for this thing is, on the ends, it's supposed to simulate sky. There's actually there's a kit provided decal for that right there, so I'll end up using that. Something I did notice is that it looks like when this thing goes molded, it has, I really don't know, I can't, it's not from the sprues or anything, but there's a couple like rough circles right here. It's not flush, so I'm kind of worried that it might affect my, my decal because it can rub right here. So I'm thinking about just doing a very fine, maybe with like 1500 grit sandpaper, which would be fine. It's about light transparent anyway, so that might even diffuse it a little bit. And then, okay, and for that, in here is where it's supposed to be white light shining through. So obviously I'm going to have to mask that off. I think I'll just go ahead and scuff up this whole backside anyways for light diffusion. And I think what I'll also do is I'll paint, I'll paint this side. That way if I painted this side, it'll look glossier through it. So I'll paint this side like a base color, and then I'll probably dry brush up here. Pick some type of, I don't know, conduit color, something that looks nice. This here would be something in the lighter grays or the whites, the outline of it. So I'm going to go ahead and, let me see. Actually, you know what? No, actually, I don't need 1500. I could do it with 320. That'd be fine, actually. So, okay, let me actually do this. I'll test it right here anyways, just because it's going to get covered with a decal. Still feel a little, it's below the plastic. I thought it was above it. Weird. Yeah, see if you can see the two circles. It's below the plastic. That's why it's like the sandpaper hasn't even hit it yet. And the only reason why I'm doing this side, because this is the side where the decal goes, and I don't want it to, like, leave an indentation. At least get it closer. It's also making it thinner too, so that's something to really watch out at. So maybe I should not go all the way, but just not make it so the decal won't like sink in and make it too deep. That's better. Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be there, but at least it's not as deep. Okay, let me just do the backside here, just for light diffusion. Actually, you don't have to do the whole thing, so I'm going to paint this side. So, but it does feel good light diffuse, that's for sure. I actually should do the whole thing just to also light block this part too. And that's actually a good idea. Yeah, do the whole thing. Duh, gotta light block some of it. Some of it you don't want to light block, and some of it you do. And of course, if you're gonna paint it, you gotta sand it first. Even to me, I prefer to sand before any heat promoter. Yeah, 320 is fine, as long as, you know, he's gonna make it look even as far as the scuffness. And I'm checking it as I go, like just by putting it up into my stoplight above me. I mean, yeah. I think that will work. All right, so that's done. Now I'm gonna have to make some special freaking masks for in here. So what I think I'll do is just gonna lay out some tape. Get a measurement too, and a pencil. Yeah. Okay, these things do come in handy. So what is the width of this? Have to turn it on. Okay, it's 17/100ths of an inch, or from what I can actually see, if you're using marks, it would be 5/16. 5/16 on the short. If you have this thing, it's like a rectangle. On the short end, it's 5/16. Now on the long side, it's 22/100ths of an inch. And more like, it's like, I want to say 1, 2, 3. It's like a hair over 1/4 of an inch. Sorry, I'm not converting to millimeters right now, even though I could. 5.82 millimeters, whatever. Okay, so a hair over 1/4 on the long side, and 5/16 on the short side. So got a little ruler out, my piece of tape. So we've got to use a measurement that has the 16ths. Big old freaking fly in here. I wonder where you fucking came from. Oh, those are 30 seconds. Five minutes. 16. Do a line. And now, give me my little hobby knife, since I still use my little metal ruler as a straight edge. dog. Okay. Now we need to make a bunch of dumb little squares at a hair over a quarter. I mean a hair, it's like basically about an extra 16. So we'll get rid of this junk right here. I think I have a decent cutting board. So hair over quarter. And some tweeze just to help peel it up. And it's still kind of too big. Okay. And if some of you actually know how to do this better and you're laughing at me, it's like, why don't you just do it like this and then trim it out? Which is probably what I'm going to do. Save me a little bit of time. Hey, I'm learning something, and hopefully you're learning too. Hold on. There, I got one. I'm gonna do these off camera to save me some battery juice and so you guys don't get bored. So let's cut to the next transition. So the masking is all done. Just a recap on how I did these. Obviously my measurement came out just a hair bigger than just fit them in perfect, which in the way it was a little more tedious, but I think it actually came out better. If you're gonna do it like the way I did, make sure at least you line up two edges and then just take the tip of your tweezers and just kind of rub it into the edge, and then take your hobby knife and cut along that edge and just gently pluck it out. And if there's a little nub in the corner, you can just clip it off with your hobby knife, or you can just take the tip of your tweezer and just pull it and push it away and push it down. So the next thing I'm going to do is I just got to go ahead and just kind of tack rag and blow it off a little bit from the little dust from doing that little sanding. And then I'm going to actually spray a little adhesion promoter. So I'm going to go ahead and hit both sides. I also have a mask for light blocking. I'm actually going to do it on both sides. Over here I have a different. The reason why I did not do it on one side is because if I was going to just light block the back side, and in order to have light shining through here, I would have to literally mask to the edge, but then the edge of this detail won't be light blocked. So what I'm going to do is just do both sides. I kind of did it like the way I wanted to originally on this side, so I can spray this, but also I'm going to go ahead and hit this over here so I can make sure I get this detail as well. Black on both sides, it'll just help a little better and gives it something more of the finished paint to grab onto, because it'll already have some paint already on it. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that. No need to see me do that. It's just a and a big deal. So I already light blocked the seal-in piece, and I already coated this side with the tin colored, wherever it is, probably left it somewhere else. Basically it's a silver looking color, but the color's called tin. But for this detail in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry brush some pale gray. In case you don't know, a dry brush is just basically get a little paint on it and kind of like wipe it off. So there's like, basically you're kind of like drying your brush and you just brush over it. The point is so you don't have so much paint for it to flow into. It has no choice but to kind of lay lightly on top of whatever it is you're doing. For this, I'm actually going to use a foam brush. And I'd suggest, like, you know, going over to, like, you know, your arts and crafts store or even Walmart, they might have it. An assortment of little foam brushes. They're very cheap, so that's what I'm going to use on here. The reason why is because all this fine detail, if I try to do it with an actual brush, you know, it's like teeth, you know, it'll just go. I just want to go that. So I'm going to get some craft paint. For me, I always just like to use what's in the cap here when you're using so little, instead of trying to monkey with what's in the thing, especially when you're doing so little. So as you can see, I just got a little bit on here. You know, kind of smear it till it's kind of dry, so there's like hardly anything on it. And what I'm like to do is, instead of going down along with like whatever lines there, I like to go across it. It's the same thing. Yeah, I kind of did a little bit on the Arboretum, if you didn't notice in the last couple of scenes. Even though I kind of did it a different color than what was, you know, depicted, just for some reason it just was screaming at me to do it in that color. You know, I said, I was like, hey, I'm trying to be accurate as possible, but I just had this really nagging feeling to do it that color. Oh well. The whole point on this kit is kind of like making it your own. And we're learning all along too as we go. Now I'm not worried about getting any of the paint on this because it's going to go the same color, but I'm going to airbrush that on. In case if I didn't mention it before, you know, obviously I'm airbrushing craft paint, and you can't just put this stuff like right into it. It's way too thick. And if you're wondering, like, what am I using to reduce it? I'm just using distilled water. That's it. Distilled water. Distilled water because there's no impurities in it. I'm not doing, you know, the special concoction of glass cleaner and rubbing alcohol and whatever. If you want to do that and play with that, that's fine. I've used it too in the past. The only reason why I didn't do it now is because, well, it's just a hassle making this stuff. Especially if you use the glass cleaner, you gotta find clear glass cleaner. Well, Windex is typically blue. So good luck with that. Now I'm also gonna rotate it this way, just because my strokes were going in one direction. So I kind of want to go both directions, so that way, because it's kind of catching the lip on one side and on the other. This way it kind of evens it out. Oh, and very, very light pressure, because I only want it on top of this detail. That's it. I don't need it anywhere else. It's just on top. That one got a little too much on there. I don't think I can save it. Probably can't see it. It's on the very center of the end, hopefully. Ooh. See, a little too much on that top right there in the middle. But I don't know, I think it's turning out nice. kind of taking a step back, kind of look if there's any dead spots, which is basically almost where it needs a little bit more. Okay, I think that's it. I mean, if I want to go detailed, maybe I could put I might do it actually, just a little accent, little colors, maybe just take a little dot of paint and put it on a pipe or something. Keeping this upside down, I don't have much left in it, but I don't need much of it for anything else. So here we're at on that one. So I did actually go ahead and do some little detail work to it, even though you will not really see any of this, but just the fact to know that a little extra detail is there is kind of neat, you know. Well, it's actually now time to start dealing with the kit supplied water slide decals that simulate the sky on the very edge. So we'll just go ahead and get one started in water. Get that nice and wet. Well, I didn't take the masking off where the lights go, by the way. So no, I did not paint where the lights go. Don't comment me on that one. No, you can if you want, but don't. Okay, we got some movement. So all I'm gonna do is get this a little wet. I'm just gonna do that with my finger. Kind of get it off the edge. Alright, it's one with no wrinkles. Let's put the other one in. Also trying to not have water on this paint here because it's a water-based paint. I thought about sealing it up with clear already, but then I'll be doing this step tomorrow. And even though I'm going to do it again anyways, just because once the water slide is fully set, which will be tomorrow, is when I'm going to shoot this whole thing with, like a matte clear. Alright. This one I'm just going to preload water. Okay, we got movement, same thing. Where I want it to be. Okay. Yes, like that. So for this piece, I have to let it set till tomorrow, and then I'll spray some clear over it. And then after that's set, I'll probably just kind of just preset this in here for now, not really glue it in until later. Of course, the other thing I got to decide, which will be later down the line as we're doing the secondary hole, is how do I want to illuminate the top? Do I want to use the lights that's in the hole to bounce around? Do I want to put a strip light in like near here? Same thing also goes with underneath with the little pedestal. Like, what type of LED do I want to just shove it right on there, or what I want to do? But overall, the main pieces of this is pretty much done. So that's basically going to be a wrap for this one here. Of course, after I go ahead and clear this, remove all the masking, show you the fine detail. Actually, you know what, basically right about now, what's going to be like a day and a half for me is a next cut scene for you.